Hi everyone, I'm Sophia. I'm 16 and I'm from Tidewater, Virginia. And today we will be talking about how important food safety is and practicing safe sanitation rules and prevention of illnesses that can be spread by food. So a lot of people will experience this in their lifetime. It's usually found in restaurants and can usually occur in clusters and outbreaks when sharing the same types of foods. As we can see, we have food recalls, and that helps us know that this food is not safe to eat because it's contaminated with a certain bacteria that causes illness. But it's also mostly important to practice good rules while cooking. So these food safety can be important and properly treated. So what can cause food poisoning? The definition of food poisoning is usually when you're eating a contaminated food, and especially when certain meats are not cooked properly. And most often, chicken can cause salmonella. We have eggs and in certain dairy products as well. Most fruits and vegetables are okay to eat raw, but alfalfa sprouts are one that can definitely cause illness. So symptoms can begin only after a few hours to a few days after you've eaten the food. So there's a certain type of E. coli strain called E. coli 0157. A majority of E. coli bacteria is not harmful to the human body, but this one is pathogenic. Most E. coli is necessary for gut health, actually, and to maintain our gut flora, but there's a forensic files episode that shows in October 1996, and there was a certain outbreak of E. coli 0157 that occurred in this apple juice brand. This apple juice brand was not pasteurized. This E. coli strain can be fatal, especially to children. One of the most severe side effects is hemolytic uremic syndrome, which is when blood vessels in the kidney break down and causes organ failure as well. But eventually, the company producing the apple juice was charged with lack of pasteurization and sanitation. And now we know how especially important pasteurization is for preventing bacteria in our food. So fish normally doesn't really cause foodborne illness as much as other meats and dairy and cheese products, but this one is maintains to be an exception. This is happens in reef fish like barracuda. It's when the reef fish will contain Ciguatera toxin that's ingested in the human body. It causes usually nervous system and neurological symptoms like dizziness and tingling in the arms and fingers. There is no cure, but the symptoms will usually go away in a couple of days to weeks. Unfortunately, this toxin is not able to be treated or to get rid of. It can't be destroyed by heat, so once it's in there, the toxin will stay in there. It's usually important to just not eat fish in tropical regions, usually, especially found in a reef, and that's the best way to prevent it. Listeria is usually found in fruits and vegetables, cheeses as well. It causes fever, nausea, and other foodborne like illness. A majority of healthy individuals will get through the illness, but pregnant women can have more experience with getting complications. So salmonella is usually tied to meats and eggs. Most individuals will recover in a couple of days. The symptoms are usually mild to moderate. It's widely known that raw cookie dough will give you salmonella, but there's statistics on that the chance is 1 in 20,000 for eating contaminated egg with salmonella. As now, most eggs are pasteurized and there's stricter standards for how eggs can be. So even if you eat raw cookie dough, a very, very high majority of the chance you will not feel anything from it. So now this is one of the more rare symptoms. It's usually caused by canned food and low acid canned food specifically. It causes neurological symptoms as well, like weakness, double vision. There's also a type of botulism found in honey. It's most often found to infants, which is why there's sayings and other information to not give honey to your youngest child because that can cause botulism. This is the last disease I will be going over. This is called Shigella. It's this rod, elongated type of bacteria. It's usually found in dirty recreational water or a swimming pool or waste. It's most often found in infants and children and in schools as well because sanitation practices are not always the strongest. It's really contagious. Why spread so rapidly? So here are some ways for food poisoning prevention. We can wash hands, work surfaces, and usually just wear gloves. Keep raw meats and raw uncooked meats separately. That goes the same for other raw foods. Food should be properly washed at all times. Properly cooking meat as well, especially for chicken. To not be eating food past a certain due date, and pasteurized foods that can be heated to kill bacteria. So thank you for coming to my presentation. It's important to know, even though it's relatively rare, how food safety can be practiced. Foodborne illness is actually quite common. There's a decent chance that you'll get it once in your lifetime, but even then, that chance can be decreased when you practice safe cooking habits, safe eating habits, washing hands, and generally keeping up good hygiene preventions. So these are the sources that I used for creating this presentation.